This year's topic, I'm afraid to say, often gets ignored, and we can't ignore it. It is absolutely crucial. We have so many things we need to talk about, so many issues we need to address, and yet every day people are killed by weapons. And we're going to talk about those weapons. Some of those weapons, particularly nuclear weapons, atomic bombs, could wipe out the planet in a second. And those who kind of look at that whole issue say we're closer to that kind of exchange of weaponry than we've ever been before. North Korea, the Middle East, Ukraine are areas of particular concern in that regard. Probably India, Pakistan is the most vulnerable area. The other issue that we're going to hear about in our keynote speech today is autonomous weapons, also associated with drones. And we're basically giving things over to computers, and we're letting computers select targets. And just as you have computer glitches with your computer at home, there can be computer glitches with fatal results with these kinds of weapons. So our keynote speaker today is Reverend Chris Antal. He's the senior minister at the Rock Tavern Church here in New York, up the river away. Before that, Chris was a military chaplain at Kandahar, at the military base in Afghanistan. And as he was there, he had soldiers that were concerned about drone warfare. And he thought it was incumbent on him to start preaching some sermons about it. And he thought he had freedom of the pulpit to do so. But he wound up having to leave Afghanistan. And there was a bit of, I don't know, friction. You might tell us a bit more about that. And he wound up actually getting a promotion to captain. And then he came to the UN. He gave a speech there that moved me personally. And he used the scripture, and I do come from a Christian background. I was raised in the Church of Christ. And he talked about, he quoted the scripture, you know, you cannot serve two masters. That's a very strong biblical injunction, that you can't serve God and mammon, I think is what the biblical phrase is. And he decided he could not continue to take a check from the U.S. military, which he was taking, and serve his principles as a UU minister. And so, at some sacrifice to himself and his family, he resigned his commission in the U.S. military, and he's been an ardent campaigner against drone warfare. And we're very honored to have him here today to speak to us about this very important issue. Please welcome Reverend Chris Antal.
I want to open with a word about self-care. This is hard work that we're approaching this morning. It's hard intellectually to grasp the complexity of what's going on. It's also hard emotionally, and it needs to be hard. So I want to encourage us to take care of ourselves and manage anxiety, because there's a lot of anxiety as we approach Megadeth. And we're in a place where there's a lot of support. So I want to encourage you to monitor your own capacity to hold anxiety. And if you need to reach out to support, there's chaplains. They'll be at the back if you feel you need to step out. And you have collaboration groups to process what you'll be learning about and experiencing in this presentation. I encourage you to pay attention to the emotions that come up. Moral emotions like disgust, guilt, maybe shame, embarrassment. Places for pride as well, and gratitude. These are moral emotions. And it's been my experience that it's only when we get in touch with these emotions, when we get out of the head and into the heart and the gut, that's where the power comes from to do the work. And that's where the courage comes from to do the work. And finally, just breathe. Let's all breathe just for a minute. Take a breath. Keep breathing throughout the presentation. I try to insert some humor in, a little dark maybe, but we need to also meet doom and gloom with humor and hope. And I'm trying to strike a balance in this presentation, and you can tell me later how I did it. Okay? We have some materials that the chaplains are holding that are going to be circulated. There's a packet of photographs. These were given to a member of my congregation by a Japanese atomic bomb survivor of the Waukesha when we were marching together in a Peace and Planet March in this city a couple years ago. He handed the packet to John Kinney and said, I want you to have these photos and I want you to share them. They're graphic, they're disturbing, they're disgusting. So you decide if you want to see them or not, okay? If you do, the chaplains will bring them to you and be with you as you look through them. There's also a couple of books that I brought back when I was in Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 2015. Those also have some graphic images. And finally, there's a packet of little postcards, and those are inspiring children's drawings. I encourage everyone to look at. So are we ready? Move into this. Does anybody want to go out? I'm going to talk a little bit more about my ministry and my experience in Afghanistan and after, a little bit later in the presentation. But I want to begin with taking the balcony view. We have a nice balcony. The idea of taking the balcony view is stepping back, looking at the situation historically through a couple of different lenses, try to get a sense of what's going on, what is going on. And that's the first question I want to ask as we embark on this collaborative inquiry. What's going on, then why is it going on? It's the interpretive task. Then what ought to be going on? What ought to be normal? And then finally, what do we do about it? It's the pragmatic task. So that's the framework for our collaborative inquiry that I'd like to set, not just for my presentation, but as we move through these days together. So left of boom is a military expression. We all want to stay left of boom. Right of boom, in this book by Jonathan Shell, right of boom, he says all that's left are insects and grass. Now, proximity matters. Proximity to ground zero. He's saying, they're in the boat, he's saying, I'll tell you what this means, Norm. No size restrictions, and screw the limit. So what is boom? I'm going to show you a 5-minute clip. It's a recreation of what happened in Hiroshima on August 6, 1945.
広 I saw an aircraft, like a tiny silver drop, entering the sky above Hiroshima. I instantly recognized it as an American plane, as no Japanese aircraft could fly at that altitude at the time. It was just one plane, so I assumed that it was passing by as usual.
And I was counting 1, 2, 3.
I was wiping the desktop. That was when the bomb was dropped.
It took about 45 seconds from the time the bomb left the airplane until it exploded. And I think there wasn't a man in the airplane that wasn't either timing it with his watch or counting or doing something. I was sure the bomb was a dud. I was sure it wasn't going to work.
After falling for 43 seconds, the time and barometric triggers started the firing mechanism. A uranium bullet fired down a barrel into a uranium target. Together, they started a nuclear chain reaction. Solid matter began to come apart, releasing untold quantities of energy.
Some people survived that blast. Japanese, they're known as hibakusha, atomic bomb survivors. I was hoping to introduce you to a very special person I've had the privilege of spending time with recently, Tomoko Morimoto West, who lives just up the river. She couldn't be here today, but she came to my home last week and recorded a video message for all of you. And I'd like to show you part of it now, and hopefully there'll be time later for you to see the whole thing. Okay, well, we're recording. I have a second audio just to make sure that we can hear you, and that's what this is. So I'm here with Tomoko Morimoto West, and why don't you just introduce yourself?
Oh, okay. My name is Tomiko Morimoto West. I'm here with Reverend Antal, and I want to say that I'm sorry that I can't be here with you in person, but I'm very happy that I can record a video. And thanks to modern technology, I like to send some message to you.
So tell us a little bit about your story.
Well, as you know, I'm a survivor from Hiroshima, August 6, 1945. That was 72 years ago. And luckily that I lost my whole family, but I was only one that survived from my family. However, I just feel my life was spared, so I have a chance to tell my story to younger people who may not know anything about the war. And so that's what I want to say.
On August 6, 1945, you were 13 years old.
Yes, I was 13 years old, and at that time, Japan was at the war with the U.S., as you know, and it was almost at the end of the war, and I was in high school, but we had to give up our books, and we had to go to work at the defense factories to support the war effort. So I was at the factory at the time, and when I saw B-29 flying above me, and it was such a beautiful day, not even cloud in the sky, it was B-29, only one. So we had seen a B-29 all by itself before. So I kept on looking at the sky and admiring the airplane that's flying with the beautiful white vapor streaming behind it, and all of a sudden there was a big blast. It was red. It was just like how you see your sun sinking into the ocean. Exactly was like that, like a big ball. And then after that, all the buildings start falling. So we were all on the ground, and then all the debris was flying all over us, so we had to try to escape. And we kept on running towards Mount Koi, that's in Hiroshima. And then we just had to keep on running to where the fire's everywhere, so you had to go to where there's no fire. And so that's how my morning began on August the 6th, 1945.
Wow. Well, I appreciate you bringing back those painful memories.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. But can I continue then?
Okay. Well, so you can pick up wherever you want to.
Mm-hmm. So we had to keep on running to where the fire was following us. Wherever we went, the fire was behind us, so we had to go where was no fire. It led us to top of the mountain, Mount Koi, that's called, in Hiroshima. So we had to stay overnight there, and when you looked down, the city was on fire. And the teacher had told us that we can't go home until somebody from your home will come to retrieve us. Of course, at that time I didn't know my family all got killed, and nobody came. So we just stayed there for 2 days in a mountain, and finally I had to come down by myself. And Hiroshima has 7 rivers, so I had to come across each river to get to my home. And all the bridges were down, so we had to keep on running to one place to the other, try to find some bridge you can come across. And one place I had to walk across the railroad bridge, and when you look down, very far down, it was nothing but the dead people. The entire river was covered with dead people, and they were all washed away to the ocean. So finally I got home, and where my home was already destroyed. And of course, when we walk in the home, it was still burning. And one of the neighbors said that I didn't see your mom, but I saw your great grandparents in the bomb shelter. So finally I found them, and my grandfather was, his back was all, the broken glasses were lodged in, but anyways, I could not find my mother for a few days, but when I found her, she was already dead, and the only way I was able to recognize her was with her part of his clothing, because she was not completely burned. So anyway, then I found her with the wallet crepes. Anyways, so I stayed in the bomb shelter that was in Mount Hiji, it's called in Hiroshima. And a lot of people, the relatives came to take them to their home, but since I had no relative in the countryside, we stayed there. In the meantime, my grandfather died, and my grandmother died in bomb shelter, just like, she followed him. So I was left all by myself. In the meantime, I kept on, looking for my mother. And so at that time, Japan had lost the war, 15th of August. And they were coming around to collect the dead body from bomb shelter. And then I was only 13, but I stood up to the people, you can't take my grandfather, and you're not going to put him in a mass grave and burn him, because I'll do it myself. And I gathered all the debris from the mountain. And in the meantime, my family had printing shops, so we had some alcohol or chemicals was stored underground. So I went to get that, and I poured it over my grandfather's body, and I burned them, myself. It took almost 3 days to burn the body. But anyway, so I collected his bones, and now that his bone remains in Hiroshima in a family grave as I speak. So it was like that. So very often I married my husband, who is an American, and I was often asked, how could you marry an American when America is the one who dropped the bomb? Then I feel that my husband didn't do it, It was one of that's how I think. So we have been married 60 years now. but I could not bear any children. But we live in the midst of birds and the trees, and very peaceful life right now. My life is good. ごめんなさい。Oh, I'm okay. Yes, I'm a stronger person because of that. I can do anything, you know.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to put into words a response to a story like that. We've been talking this morning a little bit about current events.
Yes, yes. You
And so as we speak, there is a discussion going on at the United Nations to ban nuclear weapons, to make them illegal. And there's 123 nations now in support of this ban. But the United States is resisting. So could you comment on?
Yes. My humble opinion, I think United States is resisting because even United States would ban the nuclear completely. There will be some other country who would, keep on using the nuclear weapon, and the United States probably, my opinion is, feel as though United States have to have nuclear weapon to retaliate. That's what I think.
So what message do you have for this conference? This is a group of idealistic, optimistic people who want to disarm the world.
Definitely that if we could have disarmament of nuclear weapons, that certainly would be like utopia, right? So that is really my humble wish that will come true. So no one has to experience such a horrific war experiences. That's my humble opinion. Sorry, I cannot, really answer you intelligently, but I just can't tell you how I feel.
And as someone who's experienced the horror of a nuclear bomb, what message would you give to the President of the United States, who is investing billions more dollars in nuclear weapons and has the authority to use nuclear weapons first in a first strike? What message would you like to say?
Yes, I would like to say to my president, I have been American citizens for over 60 years, so I am very patriotic to this country, but I like to say to the president that instead of investing such a tremendous amount of money for nuclear weapon, perhaps we could use that money to feed the hunger who are in this country still. That's how I feel. People are still hungry, no job. So, too bad we cannot use the money for something like that. More humanly. That's my message. I probably get a letter from Mr. Trump. I'm kidding. But, he does not have any idea what the war does, because he was born with a silver spoon in his mouth, so he wouldn't know.
But you know.
Yes. Maybe I could talk to him. I think if I could speak to him, he might think. So thank you. It must have been 70 minutes went past already. Sorry. Yeah, once I get talking, I don't quit, so my husband can tell you that. I could have, written down more, but well, whatever I said came from my heart. So, do you think that would have helped? That people would probably think when you hear my story. I'm compelled to give a message to the people who knows nothing about the war. And you yourself, you don't know either, but you read so much. You went to Hiroshima, you went to Nagasaki.
And I've been to Afghanistan.
Oh, you have?
In the army.
That's right. Oh, that's something I know nothing about.
Yeah. A different war, different experience, but yeah.
Oh. Lots
of pain.
Yeah, and the family are just like torn apart, right?
Yeah.
So then, that's we talked about money using for, creating nuclear power, but some of the people in Africa, they are starving. Why can't we do something about them?
Yeah.
Right?
I think that the United States spends over $500 billion a year on defense.
Okay.
Just on military. Yeah. More than every other country in the world. It's a lot of money on weapons.
Yeah. So when I have to pay taxes, I say to my the lady, I don't mind paying taxes. You don't have an airplane coming to bombing you. I'm happy to pay that tax. She loves to see me coming here. We are so lucky to live here. If
I'm gonna stop. Is there anything else before I stop the camera? Any other?
No, I'm fine.
You did really.
Tomoko was here. Well, 72 years have passed. Technology has continued to progress, if we can call that progress. So let's bring it home right here, right now, and drop a bomb on this city. So, Reverend Vogel, are you still here? Your congregation has been a target lately. Why don't we type into the box? You see, it says you can type in where you'd like to target. 160 Central Park West. Verse 4th Unitarian. You can play around with this when you get home. It's kind of sick, fun. And then we can choose our present. Go to the drop-down box, and let's start with the Hiroshima bomb. Okay, so right on target, 4th U. Okay, let's include, don't detonate. Click under 3, casualties and also radioactive fallout, so we can see both. Okay, ready? This is the Hiroshima bomb dropped on the 4th Universalist. Go ahead. Boom. This is the casualty count. That's within the first 10 seconds. And it doesn't count the second order effects.
Dum-dum, Beedle-dum-dum, Beedle-dum-dum, Beedle-dum-dum. There was a turtle by the name of Bert, and Bert the turtle was very alert. When danger threatened him, he never got hurt. He knew just what to do. He ducked and cover, duck and cover.
He did what we all must learn to do. You
and you
and you
and you, duck and cover.
Be sure and remember what Bert the Turtle just did, friends, because every one of us must remember to do the same thing. That's what this film is all about. Duck and cover. This is an official civil defense film produced in cooperation with the Federal Civil Defense Administration and in consultation with the Safety Commission of the National Education Association. Produced by Archer Productions, Incorporated. Hey, Bert, come on out and meet all these nice people, please. Oh, all right. We really can't blame you. You see, Bert is a very, very careful fellow. When there's danger, this is the way he keeps from being hurt. Sometimes it even saves his life. That's why these children are practicing to duck and cover just as you do in your school. We all know the atomic bomb is very dangerous. Since it may be used against us, we must get ready for it, just as we are ready for many other dangers that are around us all the time. Fire is a danger. It can burn whole buildings if someone is careless. But we are ready for fires. We have a fine fire department to put out the fire, and you have fire drills in your school so you know what to do. Automobiles can be dangerous too. They sometimes cause bad accidents, but we are ready. We have safety rules that car drivers and people who are walking must obey. Now, we must be ready for a new danger, the atomic bomb. First, you have to know what happens when an atomic bomb explodes. You will know when it comes. We hope it never comes, but we must get ready. It looks something like this. There is a bright flash, brighter than the sun, brighter than anything you've ever seen. If you are not ready and did not know what to do, it could hurt you in different ways. It could knock you down hard or throw you against a tree or a wall. It is such a big explosion, it can smash in buildings and knock signboards over and break windows all over town. But if you duck and cover like Bert, you will be much safer. You know how bad sunburn can feel. The atomic bomb flash could burn you worse than a terrible sunburn, especially where you're not covered. Now, you and I don't have shells to crawl into like Bert the Turtle, so we have to cover up in our own way. First, you duck, and then you cover. And very tightly, you cover the back of your neck and your face. Duck and cover underneath a table or desk or anything else close by. In Betty's school, they are talking about the atomic bomb, too. Betty is asking her teacher, how can we tell when the atomic bomb may explode? And her teacher is explaining that there are two kinds of attack, with warning and without any warning. We think that most of the time we will be warned before the bomb explodes, so there will be time for us to get into our homes, schools, or some other safe place. Our civil defense workers and our men in uniform will do everything they can to warn us before enemy planes can bring a bomb near us. You may be in your schoolyard playing when the signal comes. That signal means to stop whatever you are doing and get to the nearest safe place fast. Always remember, the flash of an atomic bomb can come at any time, no matter where you may be. You might be out playing at home when the warning comes. Then be sure to get into the house fast, where your parents have fixed a safe place for you to go. If you are not close to home when you hear the warning, go to the nearest safe cover. Know where you are to go, or ask an older person to help you. You know the places marked with the S sign? They're safe places to go when you hear the alarm. If there is a warning, you will hear it before the bomb explodes. But sometimes, and this is very, very important, sometimes the bomb might explode without any warning. Then the first thing we would know about it would be the flash. And that means duck and cover fast, wherever you are. There's no time to look around or wait. Be like Bert. When there is a flash, duck and cover, and do it fast. Here are some older boys showing what to do if the flash comes when you are not in the classroom. This is what to do if you should be in a corridor. You duck and cover tight against the wall this way. Remember to keep your face and the back of your neck covered tightly. Try to fall away from windows or doors with glass in them. Then, if the glass breaks and flies through the air, it won't cut you. You might be eating your lunch when the flash comes. Duck and cover under the table. Then, if the explosion makes anything in the room fall down, it can't fall on you. Getting ready means we will all have to be able to take care of ourselves. The bomb might explode when there are no grown-ups near. Paul and Patty know this, and they're always ready to take care of themselves. Here they are on their way to school on a beautiful spring day. But no matter where they go or what they do, they always try to remember what to do if the atom bomb explodes right then. It's a bomb. Duck and cover. Paul and Patty know what to do. Paul covered the back of his head so that he wouldn't be burned, and Patty covered herself with the coat she was carrying. They knew how to duck and cover. They acted right away when the flash came. If they had been at this doorway when the bomb flashed, Paul and Patty would have ducked and covered this way, like this girl. Heavy doorways are a good place to duck and cover. She will be safer, too. Here's Tony going to his Cub Scout meeting. Tony knows the bomb can explode any time of the year, day or night. He is ready for it. Duck and cover. Atta boy, Tony. That flash means act fast. Tony knows that it helps to get to any kind of cover. This wall was close by, so that's where he ducked and covered. Tony knew what to do. Notice how he keeps from moving or from getting up and running? He stays down until he is sure the danger is over. The man helping Tony is a civil defense worker. His job is to help protect us when there is danger of the atomic bomb. We must obey the civil defense worker. We must know how to duck and cover in the school bus or in any other bus or streetcar. Duck and cover. Don't wait. Duck away from the windows fast. The glass may break and fly through the air and cut you. Sundays, holidays, vacation time, we must be ready every day, all the time, to do the right thing if the atomic bomb explodes. Duck and cover. This family knows what to do, just as your own family should. They know that even a thin cloth helps protect them. Even a newspaper can save you from a bad burn. But the most important thing of all is to duck and cover yourself, especially where your clothes do not cover you. No matter where we live, in the city or the country, we must be ready all the time for the atomic bomb. Duck and cover. That's the first thing to do, duck and cover. The next important thing to do after that is to stay covered until the danger is over. Yes, we must all get ready now so we know how to save ourselves if the atomic bomb ever explodes near us. If you do not know just what to do, ask your teacher when this film is over. Discuss what you could do in different places if a bomb explodes. Older people will help us as they always do, but there might not be any grown-ups around when the bomb explodes. Then, you're on your own.
Remember what to do, friends. Now tell me right out loud. What are you supposed to do when you see the flash?
Duck and cover.